Yo! Welcome back to the channel. Now, I know it's been a little minute since I posted a video. That's only because we had to pay some bills. Now, you know how on TV they say, hey, don't go nowhere. We're going to pay some bills. We be right back. Yeah, that's on TV. In the real world, we got to go grind. We got to go get it. We don't got no commercials. We don't got no ads. We don't got no sponsors yet. Okay? But with that being said, the bills is paid. The house paid. The car paid. And now we back with another banger. So, with that being said, I just want to let you guys know that the hardest part about anything in life is just showing up. Showing up is half the battle, and it's probably more than half the battle. Because there's so many things that will try to stop us, try to distract us, try to not make us do what we need to do in life. Like make these videos that I've been wanting to make for the past week. But showing up is half the battle. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. If you feel like you need to exercise a little bit more, just show up at the gym. Don't think about how hard it's going to be, all the work you're going to do, how you don't want to do it. Just drive to the parking lot. And once you show up to the parking lot, I guarantee you'll see how much easier it is to maybe walk in. If you're already there, you might as well walk in. You might end up, just hopping on the treadmill. And by showing up, you're a lot closer than you would have been by not showing up. So it doesn't matter what you're going through. If you need to go to the gym, if you need to go to that meeting that you've been needing to go to, just show up. Don't think about all the stuff after, what could happen, what's going to happen. Just show up. Drive to the parking lot. Walk in the lobby. And I guarantee you will see that it's much easier to get done what you need to by just showing up. And that's the hardest part, is just showing up. So, with that being said, if you haven't already, go ahead and like the video, because it's going to be a banger. That's all I make is bangers. Go ahead, subscribe to the channel right now. And if this video gets some views and not no new subscribers, you already know what's going to happen. That's going to make me very, very highly upset. And you already know what's going to happen when I'm mad, when I'm upset, or anything like that. I'm just going to keep dropping bangers on your head top. Right on your head top. Banger after banger. So you might as well go ahead and subscribe right now, so that way you don't miss none of these bangers. So, in my last video, I was talking about, is Dana White gonna ruin boxing? Okay? That was my last video. But today we're not talking about boxing no more. We're off of that. Because quite frankly, kind of like I predicted, Dana White ain't said another word about boxing since he dropped that press conference. We ain't heard another peep about boxing. Just like when he said it 5 years ago, he wanted to get into boxing. We ain't heard nothing about it. So we ain't going to worry about boxing no more. We're going to put that on the back burner. Let's get back to some of this UFC. This weekend, we have UFC 308, Holloway versus Topuria. Now, I missed the last UFC event, which was UFC 307. So the last time I did a UFC video was UFC 306, and that was at the Sphere. And I already broke that down. I already did a deep dive into that. I already gave a reaction to that. Go check that out if you want to. Now, the one that I missed, UFC 307, Pereira versus Roundtree. That was an absolute banger. Straight up war. One of the best fights of the year to date. And it was looking bad at first for our boy, Alex Pereira. He was kind of had a slow start. And, you know, a lot of people, I'm pretty sure, thought that this was going to be the one that he was going to take that L. Now, he made some adjustments. Pereira's gas tank stood up. His championship experience stood up. And he ended up getting Roundtree out of there. Just brutalized him. Just put it on him. Pereira was just banging like a warrior. Roundtree was just banging like a warrior. Neither of them wanted to go down. The ref finally had seen enough. Said, I gotta stop it right here. The damage has been done. And you guys saw what Roundtree's face looked like after that fight. Boy, it wasn't recognizable. But all the credit in the world to Khalil Roundtree. Stock went up. Even after taking that L, stock went up. And he's going to have some more main event fights on the way. As far as Pereira is just that dude. Pereira is the guy right now. The biggest star in the UFC right now is Alex Pereira. So we're going to look forward to his next fight. I predict him moving up to heavyweight or going down back to light heavyweight or back to middleweight and going and getting that belt from Dricus. If Dricus beats Sean Strickland. Now, if Sean Strickland beats Dricus, that's another story for another day. Because we know that Pereira and Strickland are training partners, so that fight might be a little bit off limits. But if DDP does get past Strickland, I fully expect Pereira to go back down to light heavyweight and go become a double champ again. Or move up, fight Tom Aspinall in the heavyweight division for the undisputed belt whenever John Jones and Stipe Miocic have their fight coming up later this year. So, a lot of fights on the table coming up. A lot of options for Pereira, options for Roundtree, options for Aspinall. So we'll see how this all unfolds. Now, for this weekend, UFC 308, Holloway versus Topuria. Now, this fight might be the fight of the year. I know I just got done talking about 307, and that would have been the fight of the year if it was not for this weekend. We have the Blessed Express versus El Matador. Now, this is one of the best matchups that anybody could have put together. You got both of these guys coming off of devastating knockouts to their last opponent. Now, you had Ilia Topuria, who is undefeated, went and dethroned Alexander Volkanovski and took his belt like he said he was going to do from the very beginning. There ain't no cap in his rap. What he says usually is what ends up happening. Word for word, bar for bar. You know what I mean? And there ain't too much middle ground. So he went in there, put the pressure on Volk, and got him out of there in the second round. Caught him with a brutal combo. I believe it was a 4-piece combo. Sat Volk down, got the belt, took it back to Spain, and now he's the champ. And then we got Max Holloway coming off of his victory at UFC 300. Brutal knockout of our boy, Justin Gaethje. Could have been the fight of the year as well. Definitely in the running for fight of the year. And that might actually be the fight of the year so far. Great fight, entertaining fight. You guys already know what happened. Last 10 seconds of the 5th round, Holloway pointed to the middle of the mat. He said, let's meet right here. Let's do the dance right here. Let's fight to the death right here. Them boys got in the middle of the ring, you know, and threw down. All hands, nonstop. Straight street fight style. 1 second left in the fight. Holloway knocks out Justin Gaethje cold, puts him down. 1 second left in the fight. Never seen a walk-off knockout like that. That was insane. The whole place went crazy. Crazy. And that's when Max Holloway went and got the BMF belt from Justin Gaethje to now be crowned the BMF of the UFC. And now we got the BMF versus El Matador, the champ right now. We're going to put these belts on the line. Not literally, but you guys know what I mean. We're putting both of these belts on the line, and we're going to see who comes out on top. Now, this fight, we're going to find out who's the real BMF. We're going to find out who is the baddest on this planet in that weight class, in that weight range. Because obviously we can't put these guys up there with the heavyweights right now. You know what I mean? But as far as like anybody that's not a heavyweight or a light heavyweight, we're going to see who's the baddest on the planet right now. And I believe we got the two best competitors that we could possibly put in the ring, in the cage for that title. Now, I do not expect this fight to be anything else but a war. Brutal war, like back in the day, like the Romans used to do, like the Mayans used to do, like the Aztecs used to do, like the Africans used to do, like the Mexicans used to do, like them American boys used to do, and we still do. We fight, we throw down, boy. Yeah, straight hands, nothing else. I don't want to see no kicks. I don't want to see no takedowns. I don't want to see no wrestling, no jujitsu. I want to see them hands and them bows. Throw them hands, throw them bows. And if there's anything less than that, we know that somebody's losing the fight. If Max Holloway shoots for a takedown, we know something's not right with Holloway. If Topuria shoots for a takedown, we know something's not right with Topuria. Even though Topuria can wrestle, even though he does have a good ground game, both of these guys are way too cocky, way too arrogant, and way too good with these hands and the stand-up to do otherwise. Now, I see this going to be a war, a battle. I don't see anybody shooting for anything other than a knockout in the first round. Now, this thing could go either way. Honestly, I do not know how it's going to go. I cannot predict it. I don't know if anybody could really predict how this is going to go. We got two of the best strikers that the UFC has ever seen. Now, it is fight week, so there have been some interactions between the two, Max Holloway and Ilia Topuria. And before fight week, they did a head-to-head face-off. Now, they were on video, but they still did a face-off. And they were going back and forth. And honestly, I think a lot of people think that right now, Ilia Topuria is maybe getting the better of Max Holloway. Just in the trash talk, just in the verbal warfare, just in the mind games. Some people would say that Ilia Topuria is getting the best of Max Holloway. Ilia Topuria, the thing about this guy is he's just so confident and he believes in what he says that I don't think that Max really knows how to handle it, because it seems like Ilia Topuria is just speaking his truth, and Max Holloway has never had anybody kind of talk to him like this, or nobody that even thought they were on Max Holloway's level. I can't think of one fighter that actually got in the cage with Max Holloway and really thought that they were on Max Holloway's level. Maybe besides a Conor McGregor when they fought years ago. Maybe besides a Dustin Poirier when they fought years ago. But other than that, lately, these days, I don't think there's anybody that's ever gotten in that cage or that's even gotten in the press conference with Max Holloway and talked as spicy as Ilia Topuria is talking right now. Ilia Topuria is pretty much saying that he can predict the future. He knows what's going to happen, and there's no doubt about it. He said he's going to be the first person to put Max Holloway's lights out, knock him out cold. He's going to pull a Max Holloway on Max Holloway, which is so hard to believe. It's so hard to even fathom it. But up until this point, you cannot deny anything that Ilia Topuria says. What Topuria says up until this point has happened. He said he was going to go in there against Volkanovski. He's going to go do what Max Holloway couldn't do in 3 tries, put Volk out, take the belt, and reign over the division. And so far, that's what we're seeing in dominant fashion. So, is Ilia Topuria getting the better of Max Holloway? You know, Holloway in these interactions, you know, he's a guy you could tell he just want to fight. He don't want to talk too much. You know guys like that, they ain't trying to say too much. They ain't trying to talk too much. They just, hey, just when it's time, it's time. Just see me. You got to see me. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be ready. All that talking, all that chitter chatter, all that yipping and yapping, it's not going to help you. The only thing that's going to help you is these hands. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of demeanor that I'm getting from Max Holloway. But when it comes to trash talking time, when it comes to this verbal warfare, that may not be a good thing for Max Holloway. Because Topuria got all the comebacks. Topuria knows everything to say. Topuria told Max Holloway he's lost before. He's going to lose again. He's used to it, and he'll bounce back. Max Holloway has said he's fought some undefeated guys before, and he's taken that 0. But he hasn't fought nobody on Ilia Topuria's level recently. He's fought the Korean Zombie. He's fought Justin Gaethje. He's fought Calvin Kattar. He's fought Arnold Allen. But none of those guys are Ilia Topuria at all. And I'll tell you how I knew Ilia was that guy, and I knew it before everybody else. You can tell when somebody's doing that pad work, that real pad work, that shadow boxing, that head movement, if they really got it. And when I saw Topuria doing that pad work with his boxing coach, I said, oh, this boy crisp. This boy sharp. This boy got them punches. He's not just trying to punch you. Every punch, he's trying to knock your lights out. He going to hit you on the jaw. He going to hit you on the nose. He going to hit you on the chin. He going to hit you on the temple. And you going to go down. That's just what it is. So I really hope that Max Holloway, because we know that this guy has the most significant strikes in UFC history. He's landed more significant strikes than anybody else in the UFC. But that also means that he's probably absorbed a lot of shots. So I really hope that Max Holloway has worked on his head movement. Yeah, you could punch, but you got to get out of there too. Don't be the guy that takes damage and just think that you're just going to out-tough this guy. Because this guy, the damage that he puts on you, it's not going to be sustainable. You're not going to be able to sustain that beat down. So I really hope that Max Holloway is ready for whatever happens in this fight. Now we're not gonna say anything is out of the question when it comes to Ilia Topuria. We've seen him take guys that knock their lights out, but we've also seen him go on the ground and wrestle and submit these guys, just like he did Bryce Mitchell. You know what I mean? Just like he's done numerous other guys. And nothing's off the table. So I really hope that Max Holloway is just ready for whatever comes his way. Now, the question is, what percentage does Max Holloway actually have to win this fight? What percentage of chance are we giving him to win this fight? Because I know most people will say, hey, this is a 50-50 fight. You know, Topuria is the champ. Holloway's the BMF champ. Holloway has more experience than Topuria, but Topuria is kind of like the new generation that people like to say. He's the new generation of fighter. Max Holloway, even though he's not that old, he's been around for a while. So Max Holloway's kind of the veteran that's been doing it forever. And let's not forget, Max Holloway could not get the job done against Volkanovski. And Ilia Topuria came in there in 2 rounds and got the job done. So that does have to account for something. So if we're being realistic, what chance do we really give Max Holloway to win this fight? Are we thinking 60-40? Are we thinking 60-40 here? 70-30? 55-45? Because we do know that Max Holloway will be the underdog. So if you feeling confident in your boy Max Holloway, this might be your time to try to cash out. Because I don't think he's going to be an even matchup. I don't think they're going to say this is a even odds fight. I think Max Holloway might be a 3-1 underdog. I think Max Holloway might be a 4-1 underdog. And he's going to have to defy the odds if he wants to get this done against the Matador, Ilia Topuria. Now, as we know, this is a fight. And this is an MMA fight. So anything can happen at any time. Now, we saw what happened the last time Holloway fought. That was for the BMF belt against Justin Gaethje. And that was a fight that everybody said he was crazy for taking. Insane for taking. He went up a weight class to fight Justin Gaethje, who was kind of like the boogeyman of that division. Kind of like the Grim Reaper of that division. Gaethje came up wrestling, but as we know now, he does no wrestling. There is no wrestling in Justin Gaethje's game plan at all. Justin Gaethje will not wrestle you if his life depended on it. We know what Gaethje comes in there to do. Gaethje comes in there to destroy. And Holloway went in there in the first round, at the very end of the first round, the last second of the first round, caught him with a brutal spinning back kick that Justin Gaethje kind of ducked down into, broke his nose, shattered his nose, gushing at that point at the end of the first round. That changed the whole fight From that point on, now all of a sudden, Max Holloway had the advantage. Max Holloway was the A side. Justin Gaethje was the B side because Gaethje was fighting with a busted up nose. And I'm not talking about a little, just a little bit like kind of just like crooked at it. No, his nose was spilling blood. He shattered his nose. Boy had to go get surgery after the fight to fix his nose. And that was in the first round. So he was fighting the whole time after that with a broken nose. Holloway had the advantage from that point on. Up until that point, it was Gaethje's fight to lose. As soon as that happened, it was Holloway's fight to lose. So could we see something similar like that in this fight with Ilia Topuria? Ilia does need to go in there and not be reckless. Do not be reckless at all, because we see what happened when guys go up against Max Holloway. He can hit you with something, an elbow, a knee, a spinning back kick, bust your face up, and now you're the one at a disadvantage. So could Max Holloway injure Ilia Topuria early on in the fight and change the whole trajectory of this fight? And is that the best chance that Holloway has, is to try to cut him up, make him bleed? We really haven't seen Topuria too badly injured in any of his fights. You know what I mean? He's come out of there relatively unscathed. So anything could happen. Could we see Max Holloway put some damage on Ilia early in the fight and just change the trajectory of the whole fight? Now, the question is, who cannot afford to lose this fight more? Who needs this win the most to stay relevant? And if you're asking me, between Gaethje, between Ilia Topuria and between Max Holloway, absolutely, it's Ilia Topuria. Ilia Topuria has been talking all this stuff, calling Max out, pulling up with the BMF belt that's not his. When you do something like that, you can't afford to lose. That's going to be a bad look right there. A bad look. As opposed to Holloway, if he does lose this fight, but let's say it is a close fight, let's say it goes the distance or maybe it goes into the fourth round, he still has that BMF belt to fight for next. There's still some big fights for Max Holloway if he does in fact lose to Ilia Topuria. Now, they won't be as big as if he does get the job done, but he'll still have that BMF belt because technically that one is not on the line for this fight. They are not putting that BMF title up. So I believe Ilia Topuria cannot afford to lose this fight, but especially because it is his first title defense. And I remember the whole time after he got that title, after he beat Volk, he was saying, I'm not fighting Max. I'm not going to give Max a chance. You know what I mean? But after what Max Holloway did in UFC 300, you couldn't deny him a shot at the title. So we'll see what happens if Holloway wins. Does he give Topuria that rematch? Because it's not like Topuria has been a long-standing dominant champion. He wins his fights in dominant fashion, but he just got the belt last fight. Now, if they do run it back and we get a rematch, great. I think it'll be another banger, another fight of the year contender. But we can see what happens. You know, I think the UFC in the past, before he lost to Volk, I think the UFC loved having Holloway as a champion. I think that Holloway has options if he does go and get that title from Topuria. Who knows? We might get a Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor rematch if Holloway goes and gets that belt. Because I know Holloway lost to McGregor. And they've been talking about how since that time, he's only gotten better since his loss to McGregor. And we all know that Ilia Topuria says he is not fighting Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is not on his level. If those two ever meet up, it's going to be in the streets. If Conor McGregor and Ilia Topuria meet up, it's going to be a bar fight. I don't think they fighting in the ring. So, let's see what happens. UFC 308. Who do you guys got? Holloway? You got Topuria. You got the BMF or you got the current champ? You got the Blessed Express or you got El Matador? You got the Pride of Hawaii or you got the Pride of Spain and Georgia? So let's see. Let's see what happens. I know they got the press conference coming up. That's going to be a banger. And that press conference, that's going to reveal a lot. We're going to get a lot of answers in that press conference. I think that's going to set the stage even more for the fight. So stay tuned for that. Let me know who you guys got in this fight, who you got your money on, and we'll talk about it in the next video. And we'll see what happens. If Holloway can defy the odds, or if Topuria is just going to continue his historic rise into superstardom. So let me know what you guys think. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Deuces.